welcome to Cash and Coffee.
Brought to you by the RadarFreePress.
I'm Kayla Tenboer-Sipes.
And I'm Nathan Stahr. And this time we've got you in, we wanted to talk about the 4 pillars of your budgeting. We talked just a little bit about it there in the last video. So we kind of want to go a little more in depth on that. So if you can kind of give our viewers a little more in-depth concept of how that works.
Yeah. So when creating your budget, you're going to start with your giving, your saving, and then you're going to go into those 4 walls. So that's going to be your rent, utilities, food, and transportation to and from work.
I said pillars, didn't I? Do we
Pillars,
want to start that
walls, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's fine. But yeah, those are your 4 walls that are going to keep you afloat for the month. Whatever's left after those 4 walls, it's fair game. You spend that money wherever you want. But those are your needs, honestly.
Yeah,
and that's what you're going to base your emergency fund on as well.
Okay.
So you're going to take whatever that amount is and multiply it by your 3 to 6 months. But really, anything on top of that is going to be paying off your debts. That's another one that's going to be in that budget. So make sure you're making those payments every month. Don't miss any. And then your wants. Everything else is really, at the end of the day, it's a want because you don't need it to survive. But you do need a house over your head and your food. And hopefully, in the winter, you need your heat. Yeah. So those are your utilities. Right. So yeah, definitely put those 4 things in your budget first.
Okay. So when you're talking about food, you're not talking about, surf and turf, steak and lobster and, stuff like that. You're talking about, the low-end affordable foods while you're, trying to build up your savings.
Yeah. So just being aware of pricing in the grocery store, looking at the off-brand versus the main brands, like, picking the cheaper side of stuff. Yeah. And honestly, what we learned during this process of our debt-free journey, we paid off $26,000 in 4.5 months of debt, is that a lot of the things that we were paying for before, we really didn't need. And then once we backed up in our budget, we were like, oh, we are content without those wants in our life. We really didn't. It wasn't a need, and we became more content because of that. But yeah, not going the restaurants. That's what a lot of people, because as a financial coach, a lot of people would be, well, the restaurants is in my grocery budget. I was like, no, honey, that's a separate line in your budget because that's not a need. That is definitely a want. You don't need to go out to restaurants every night for dinner, and you don't need to be going to lunch during your lunch break. Like, you can bring your food to the work and eat your food from home instead of going out or getting DoorDash, So yeah, looking at meal planning is another big thing with it too, and finding, what do you have in your pantry? I always recommend to look in your pantry before you go shopping because you might have more than you think. You just are kind of blind to it. Pantry blindness, that's what it should be called. Because you kind of forget what you buy, and then you get so used to making the same meals over and over, and you're like, oh, but I had mayonnaise, I could have made a sandwich, or like this, and like you just don't think about it. Looking in your pantry before you go shopping, that's going to keep those grocery bills down. You mentioned about eating out. Yeah, that was huge, and it's been quite some time since we'd kind of gone through a financial program, but yeah, my wife and I, when we looked at what we were spending in a month and going out to eat, it was unbelievable. I mean, we were looking at close to 50% of just what our intake was. Yeah. And it was like we didn't realize it because it was a case of you get off work and it's just like, I don't want to make anything, and so we started doing meal prep. We started looking at what we were going to do for the week, and sometimes we would make things in advance. Case in point, last night my wife had made chili over the weekend and threw it in the crock pot in the morning and let it simmer all day, and it was ready for us when it was time to eat in the evening. And stuff like that was fairly inexpensive to put all that together compared to don't want to go, let's go hit Culver's, and then you're looking at quite a bit of money for we also have a teenage boy who likes to eat as well, so eating out is a huge thing. So for anyone out there that definitely look at what your food budget is and compare that going out to eat, because that's really like one of the things I always have my clients do is the highlighting exercise with your bank statement, and that's when you'll realize when you're highlighting pink is going out, there's a lot of pink that you didn't realize, and you add that up, and I'll be honest, when we first did it, you're at $700 going out, and now I think our budget right now is like 50 to 100.
Oh yeah.
And it's just that mindset and knowing, oh, we really didn't want to spend that much, and that was a luxury. It really.
Well, and prices have gone up so much too,
so
probably
much.
since you and your husband have gone through it, and I know even since my wife and I had gone through it. So it's astronomical what you can spend, and crazy.
A lot of people I know with like kids in sports, I hear that so often, they bring their kids to sport, well, they got to go run through the drive-through to get food before the next practice, and they're going practice to practice, and then they need food because they just worked out, so now they're driving home back through the drive-through to get their teenager more food on the way home, because that's easier, but is it best financially for the family?
Oh yeah.
When you can pack up a lunch for them right after school, bring it, and they can eat it in the car instead,
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it really makes a difference when you're really following your budgets and making sure that, your grocery budget's on point. And then we got to the point where our fund money was the stuff that became, hey, if we're going to go out, that we tried to put a little money so that we could go out and do something nice, have a dinner or whatever. But we tried to break it down to doing it maybe once a month as a treat instead of just as a necessity to feed ourselves for the night when we could be at home making something.
Yeah, and you can learn new recipes. That's what I did. Actually, I did a pantry cleanse, and I purposely did not shop. I looked through my pantry, and I had a goal, and I was not allowed to shop. And I wanted to see how long I could go without shopping, and we did 42 days without grocery shopping, and just living off of what was in our freezer, our fridge, and our pantry. And it was crazy how creative I had to become to look up new recipes based on what I had. And I know there's some apps for that as well, but Google, and you can get a lot off of there. So, but yeah, we went 42 days without buying groceries. Yeah. It was crazy.
We've seen that there's, either websites or apps that you could just plug in what you have in your house, and it will spit out a recipe for you. Don't know how good they're going to be, but the thing is it should at least get you by to the next meal.
So getting back to the topic, sorry.
Sorry to go to all the place.
But our four walls
our
food, our rent, utilities, and our gas to and from work.
You're paying your rent or your house payment, utilities, those things are obviously, the most important thing, because without that, you're living in a cardboard box, and unfortunately, you don't want to do that. You want to have a nice security, home security for your
we don't want to lose the home. You got to pay those bills first, and then you can.
It's a little hard to work a job when you don't. When you don't have a home to live in.
Yes. So.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming in and talking to us about finances. It's always a great conversation. And so we want to thank our not only our production crew, but also our viewers. Remember that the RadarFreePress is free, so we do rely on your likes, comments, shares, and subscriptions to keep us going. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, visit us at the radar.online.